What's up, everyone? We're going to talk about how to become a full-time writer in 1 year. Just one. 1 year, not two, not more. Just one. It can be done, I promise you. Now, here's the deal. I didn't do it in 1 year. So you might be thinking, well, what do you know about becoming a writer full-time in 1 year? Well, the truth is I did a lot of things wrong for a lot of years. I didn't really even want to be a full-time writer. So I just sort of did it as a hobby for a long time. But I've been doing this job, this thing called writing books, for many years now, and about half of those have been full-time, maybe 5, 6, 7 years full-time. And there's a lot of things that I've learned that I think I can teach you so that you don't have to learn them the hard way. And all of it can be done, and it can be done in less than a year. Now, I write thrillers, and those thrillers tend to be in what a category that I like to call pulp fiction, right? So this is books that typically aren't going to win the Pulitzer Prize for literary fiction. You know, I'm not going to be renowned as some literary genius. They're just fun. They're just entertainment. They're meant to be an escape for people who want to have a little fun for a few hours or a few days. That's what I write, and I'm totally fine with that because I get to make money doing it. And money's great. We all love money. I think that you could probably do the same thing in less than a year. Here's how you do it. Here's what you should be focusing on. We're going to talk about largely 3 buckets, 3 things that you need to be doing in order to make your dream of becoming a full-time writer in less than a year come true. Those 3 things are pretty simple. First of all, you have to write books, but you can't just write and hope for the best. You need to set goals, and these goals need to be specific goals. We're going to talk about how to set those goals, what you should be focusing on instead of goals, and what goals really do for us as authors. The second thing we're going to be talking about is the routine. Okay, this is very similar to goals, but we're going to get into it a little bit more, but effectively, your routine dictates how successful you will be as an author. It's just that simple. If you have a writing routine, you will become successful in a matter of time. Sure, you have to be writing good books and you have to make sure you're focusing on your craft. But if you focus on the routine, if you focus on the system, you will become successful. It's just a matter of time. I'm going to show you how to build that routine and build it well. Lastly, we're going to talk about marketing. This always is the thing that authors think they're missing out on. They think that there's some silver bullet. They think there's some missing piece that they don't quite get yet. And, you know, if they would just figure that one piece out, they'll be golden and they'll be able to market their books and their career will take off and they'll go to the moon, right? It's not that simple, but marketing is still important. We're going to talk about that. Let's jump in. First of all, you want to be a successful writer, which means full-time. You're making a full-time income. Now, that number is different for everybody, but let's just say we're talking from the realm of maybe $50,000 to $100,000 a year. You can absolutely do this in less than a year. Even if you've never written a book before. It's going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be tricky, but I promise you can do it. The first thing you need to do is set the goal. And I don't want to just be whimsical here. I don't want to just, blow smoke. You can't just say, become full-time writer in 1 year, and that's the goal. And then, check the box at the end of the year when it happens. It's not that simple. Your goals, you probably heard this before, need to be SMART, which stands for they need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be achievable, they need to be relevant, and finally, they need to be time-bound. Okay, so that's what a SMART goal is, and it's something that you may have come across in business or life in general, but in writing as well and building an author career, those SMART goals become very important. And the reason that we break them down as an acronym into those 5 categories is to keep the goal, in a framework that lets us achieve it. Essentially, lets us succeed. Again, if we just say we want to be full time and I want to do it in less than a year, that's not really a SMART goal because it's not specific enough. Right? It's time-based and it's achievable maybe, but it's not specific enough. It doesn't give us the details, right? It's also not measurable. I mean, besides 1 year, there's nothing really there to measure. And this is where I want to introduce another concept instead of just goals. Think about the process. Think about the system. Okay, this is kind of step 2 as well, and we're going to get into it a little bit more, but effectively your goal should be a SMART goal, so it's something specific, it's something that we can measure, it's relevant to your career, it's achievable, time-based, all that is true. But when we break that goal down into the more achievable chunks, as in the day-to-day, what we do every single day, what we focus on every single day, what you're going to realize is that you're actually talking about a process, right? So if our goal is to become a full-time author, well, we can assume that that means we're going to have to write books. How many books really depends on what genre you're in and how well you're able to do the rest of these things like market. But you're probably going to need more than one. You're probably going to need more than two. Let's call it 4 books. You're going to need to write at least 4 books this first year. Okay. That becomes part of your larger goal to become a full-time author in 1 year. So those 4 books now can be broken down. Well, there's 12 months in a year, and if you want to make it simple on yourself, you split that up. So once every 3 months, you've published a new book. Now, I've got other stuff where I talk about how to do that, how to write quickly, how to produce and publish a book in less than 3 months. It's totally achievable. We're not going to talk about that specifically. Just know that you're going to need at least 4 books this year. Okay? So if you take every book and split it up 3 months at a time, that's 4 books in 1 year, right? Totally doable. You've got 4 books coming out. You've got a career based around that. But really what you've done is you've taken your goal, your SMART goal of becoming a full-time author in 1 year, and you've now broken it down. You can break it down further, which you should. And this gets into the process, the system, the writing routine. If it takes you a month to write a book, let's say 50 to 60,000 words on the short end and 80 to 100,000 on the high end, it doesn't really matter. If you're an epic fantasy, I'm sorry, it's just going to take more, 150,000 to 200,000 words per book. Can't help you there. But typically 50 to 100,000 words, let's call that a full novel. If it takes you a month to write that, that gives you 2 months for production. If it takes you a month and a half, that gives you a month and a half after for production, publishing, getting it out there, all that jazz. So you can break down all of these processes into smaller rhythms, day to day, week to week, whatever it is, and that becomes your daily or weekly goals, right? All of this is built on your SMART goal of becoming a full-time author in 1 year, which you've defined as a very specific income that's relevant to you and your family and what you need. It's achievable. All that is true. You're just taking that larger goal and breaking it down into smaller SMART goals, right? So every day you've got a writing goal of 500 words. If you've done NaNoWriMo before, which is 30,000 words in 1 month, maybe your goal is 1,500 words a day. I used to have a writing goal of 2,500 words a week, which is pretty low compared to where I am now, but that's where I was in life. It doesn't really matter. The point is you just need to have a goal, a writing goal, that becomes your rhythm. Now, the reason I like to focus on this writing goal instead of the larger goal is that every day I haven't achieved the larger goal, I can feel like a failure, right? Every day that I'm not a full-time author, I feel like a failure, right? But if you break the goal down into, I want to write every single day, even if it's just 200 words, that's a pretty achievable goal, and it will get you to the finish line over a matter of time. Best of all, you get to experience that little success every single day, and that's really big. That's really important for our motivation, for our discipline. So I like to focus on that process instead of the goal. I like to focus on the system instead of the goal, because the system is what we do every single day. The system is the writing routine, which is the second most important part. No matter who else you're listening to, one thing is going to be true. If you want to be a successful author, you have to write, okay? Usually that means you have to write more than you're writing now. If you're not successful and you want to be successful, the easiest thing you can do is write more. Produce more books, publish more books, learn faster, fail faster. All of these things that we've learned in business and in life tend to be true for writing as well. The system, the process, the rhythm that you use every single day is the secret to doing that. If you want to have a writing career by the end of this next year, whenever you're listening to this, doesn't matter, 365 days from now, you absolutely can be a full-time author. I promise you that. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen a lot faster than 1 year. You can do it. The secret is to have that rhythm. The secret is that daily grind, the daily motivation, the discipline, the waking up, getting it done. Maybe you're an early riser. Maybe before your first cup of coffee, you want to sit down and knock out 500 words. Great. Bump it up to 1,000. Maybe you're a late guy and you want to just stay up after everybody goes to bed, and that's when you get your 500 words in. Great. Bump it up. Push yourself. Get more done every single day. Then if you fail one day, if you wake up and you're just not feeling it, or you come down with the flu or whatever it is, you've got a bunch of days where you've made up that lost time, right? You've already produced more than you wanted to every single day. So you can take that day off, you can take a break. But again, you won't be successful if you don't have the writing rhythm, if you don't have the grind in place, if you're not ready for that, if you can't do that, it's going to be almost impossible to become full-time at it. If you're not doing it every single day, if you're not doing it at least 5 days a week, you're not going to be full-time. And think about a normal job, 9 to 5. You're in the office, you're going in, you're actually doing your work, you're doing your job. Full-time means something, 40 hours a week, right? We can do that as writers as well, but a lot of times we have to make up for that lost time. And if we want to do it in less than a year, we have to do it a lot more. We have to do it a lot faster. So that's where the rhythm becomes important. The system, the routine that we have in place is absolutely crucial. It's critical that we break up our SMART goal, our yearly, our big one, into smaller chunks, and then those chunks become part of our rhythm. And it's super important to focus on that rhythm every single day, no matter what. The third thing you need to be focusing on is the marketing. Now, a lot of authors think they just want to write the book and then work on the next book and the next book and the next book. And that's fine if you have a traditional publishing contract where you've got a whole team of people wanting to market your work. But here's a secret. They're not going to be doing that. Not for you, not for me, not for any mid-list author, not even for any of the big-time authors nowadays. It just doesn't happen anymore. These publishers really rely on the authors to do the bulk of the work, not just on the writing side, but also on the marketing and promotion side. They simply don't have the cash to be throwing money at every mid-list author, every author that wants to be, full-time. They're not doing it. They're not doing the marketing. So you need to. And if you haven't figured it out, you're a marketer. You run a business. You need to market your business. You need to market your product. Now, this doesn't have to be scary. What I like to tell authors is there is somebody else out there just like you, or close enough to you, that they will like what you have to say. They want to read your book. They absolutely love the genre that you're writing in. They absolutely love that your main character is a pony, whatever. There's somebody out there that wants that. All you have to do is find them. You don't even have to sell to them. You just say, hey, I have what you want, and you can buy it. And they will absolutely love that there's somebody producing work that they love, producing art that they want. Okay, that's not really a big secret. We tend to get ahead of ourselves as authors and think that we're salesy, we're pushy, we're trying to be somebody that we're not. The truth is, if you've written something and it's any good and you've got enough of an ego to admit that it's good, there is somebody out there who wants it. And the trick is just to find where that person is. Sometimes it's social media, sometimes it's Amazon, sometimes it's drafted digital through a sale. Whatever the case is, there's somebody out there who wants what you've done, who wants to buy your work. Now, it's usually not as simple as just posting about it on Twitter or putting up a video of you talking about your book on TikTok and having a bunch of people buy it. A lot of times it's a little more complicated than that, but the overall marketing strategy you need to adopt is that wherever people are going to be, and specifically people who want to buy books, I will be there and I will be ready when they find me. Okay, I will be attractive enough as a persona, as a brand, that they will say, I want to buy this thing. I want to follow this guy or this girl. I want more of what they've got to offer. That's really marketing 101. And I know I'm oversimplifying it a little bit, but the reason we can't get into exactly what a marketing plan looks like is because the tactics change. Whereas the strategy is be everywhere the readers are in your genre. The tactics may be use, TikTok or Book Talk specifically, or go to Facebook and set up a group and have fans come and interact with you. That's something that works now. That's something that could be good right now when I'm recording this, but it's not necessarily something that's going to work tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now. So the tactics change. It's important for you as an author to always be studying and researching that market and the marketplace and what tactics are working. So if you're hearing about Book Talk, go check it out, go try it, go see if it is something that can work for you. All of this is happening while you're continuing to write more books. That's the key here, is you don't stop writing and then put on a marketing hat and say, well, I've just written this. How do I market it? Or what is the market? How do I find an audience for it? If you're doing your job right as a business owner, you already know that the book you're writing is in a very specific genre, and you can define that genre and you can probably guess the demographics pretty well. For example, I know for a fact that I write pulpy action-adventure thrillers that men love, but are predominantly read by women about 55% of the time. I know that these people who read my books are typically between the ages of 45 and 65, and I know that they love ebooks and audiobooks. They're not as keen on the print and hardcover versions, the paperback and hardcover versions. How do I know this? Well, I've studied them. I've asked them. I've actually done surveys through my mailing list. You can start doing this from day one, even before you write your first book. Maybe your mom or your dad is your biggest fan, or maybe your brother, sister, whoever it is, you got friends. Ask them, hey, I'm going to write this book. Do you read in this genre? You're going to get a lot of people saying, no, not really. I don't read, or I don't like that genre. I don't care about ponies. But eventually, if you keep asking people, you will find somebody who says yes. And at that point, you say, you're my new persona. Who are you? What do you do? How old are you? Where do you live? What do you look like? How do you talk? That is the kind of person you want to develop as your brand persona from day one, before you've even written and released the first book. If you do this over and over again, and you literally just ask people, anyone you meet, what do you like to read? And they give you the answer that's in your genre, you collect them as a reader. If you can take it one step further and say, hey, listen, I'm writing a book that I think you're going to love. It's absolutely that genre. It's got this and this and this as a main character, whatever. And you see their eyes light up. Then you've sold a book to them at that point. All you have to do is say, give me your email address. I want to give you a copy of this when the book is out. Is that okay? And they're going to say, absolutely, that sounds great. Chances are, if they're your friend, if they're your family, they'll even buy the book from you when it is released. Over time, this one-on-one market research actually is your relational building. It's a relational customer relationship building. You're developing relationships with real readers who read your genre and will buy your stuff. And now you know about them. You know, if you know them personally, you can probably fill in the blanks with all the demographics. You know where they live. You know what they look like. You know how they talk. This is really, really crucial information, because then you can take that to some place like Facebook and build a lookalike audience based on those demographics. You can say, hey, this person who liked my work is this, and this, and you can actually do that on Facebook and build a very granular audience that gives you 100 million other people that are just like that, right? And all you have to do is pay them money, and they will market your stuff out to those new people. And over time, you build a mailing list, and you start sending promotions and new book releases, updates about who you are. And you do all this through email, using the different tactics that change over time. And the overall marketing strategy is you are developing real relationships with real people who like what you have and what you are offering, and they will pay you for it. If you do this regularly, every single day, as part of your writing rhythm, as part of your marketing rhythm, you will have a full-time author career in 1 year. I guarantee it. I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying this, but I'm really not. There are things that you can do that will take you farther away from your mountain, from your goal of becoming a full-time author. And there are things, like I've just talked about, that will take you closer to it. You can trust that I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I've seen a lot of people focusing on the wrong things. I've seen a lot of people focusing on the right things. And the people who focus on the right things, the three things I've just mentioned, they're the ones who have become successful in incredibly fast amounts of time. Right? Maybe you've already written 3 or 4 books and they're just sitting in your desk drawer because you're waiting for the right thing. You're waiting for the information or the knowledge or whatever it is that you think you're missing. I'm telling you right now, take those books out, dust them off, make sure they're good, and then send them out and start doing that market research while you're writing the next book, while you've got the rhythm of everyday writing, that process down. It's going to work. All you're missing is the confidence to say, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to become a full-time author. If you are listening to this and you need that extra little kick, I'm giving it to you right now. You are ready. I don't care if you've got 1 book, 0 books, 100 books. You are ready to start your journey to becoming a full-time author in 1 year or less, guaranteed. You can follow me. You can find me online. I want you to go find where I am. I'm not going to tell you where, because you can probably, whatever service you use, I'm probably there. Go find me. Reach out to me. Either DM me, leave me a comment, whatever it is. I want you to tell me what your hang up has been. Okay? What's the thing that you've been missing? Now, you've just listened to me talk about how to do this in 1 year. Whatever platform you're on, where I also am, just reach out to me and just let me know, hey, I heard this. I heard you talking about this. This has been my hang up. This has been where I get stuck. I don't need you to tell me, oh my God, you fixed me overnight. I'm not asking for that. I want you to tell me your own personal reason why you believe you are not where you want to be as an author. I just want to hear it. I want to hear you say it. I probably will respond with something that hopefully is helpful, but the point is to just get it out there, to just admit it, to just acknowledge it. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that chances are there are steps you can take to get to the next level in your writing career. I believe you can do it and become a full-time author in 1 year or less. I truly believe that. And I want to challenge you to challenge me with why you believe that that's not true. Okay, go do that.